Good evening. I'm currently on my way toward the Mediterranean on my solar yacht prototype, the Helios 11. Currently, I'm tied to a tree on the side of the Rhone River. Very cozy spot. This is what it's all about, having a solar boat, not needing any fuel or any energy from marinas. Today I feel good because I realized how I could have taken the build cost and the complexity of the Helios 11 way down, and in this video I will show you how I will apply that knowledge to build the next versions, either the Explorer hull 22 meter or a narrow power cat that travels potentially above 10 knots entirely on solar. This will bring the entire system cost to around $100,000, which is insane for something that approaches a near super yacht level performance and luxury. I don't have that amount yet, but I'm already setting up the workspaces and the friends in Sweden. As I say, I have a plywood steering wheel, but a millionaire's mindset. Let's get into the video and I'll show you the build plans. Alright, let's get started with what we already have. This is the plan of the Helios 11. As you can see, we don't have a complete long waterline. It's fairly narrow and fairly pointy. The performance is good. The range is infinite on 4 to 4.5 knots. The cruise speed 6 to 7 knots. I'm very happy with the living space here, having a lot of standing cabin space. The performance is good, even on solar panels and batteries. You can pretty much order from Walmart. I don't even have half of the optimum battery capacity here. I just have 23 kilowatt hours. We could easily take that to 60 kilowatt hours. So this is good, and that is why we need to build the next model. It is important. Here is the monohull, 22 meters, Explorer type, solar cat. Similar build complexity comparing to the very long monohull, but possibly more comfortable and definitely more cool. We start off with the base geometry of the hull that make them hydrodynamically superior, inherently wave piercing, and still very easy to build from plywood on a low to moderate budget. We start off with the Explorer monohull that puts all of its points into length and narrowness. As you can see, it's super narrow. The waterline is roughly 2.5 meter narrow, but still the cabin width is roughly 3.5 meters. This is just a quick room layout, so you can understand how it might look. There's incredible amounts of space on this boat, roughly 60 square meters of livable space. It's sort of a cargo ship. Here I would have 4 meters, possibly more if you extend the sun deck to have even a car. So briefly, the benefits of the Explorer monohull is its simplicity. It's just a straight tube with some refinement. Since it's so large, so long, it won't actually roll that much, even though it looks like it would roll terribly. The role of the narrow waterline here is actually not only to make it narrower, reducing wave-making resistance, but also to allow the boat to sink deeper. As you can see, we have here over 2 meters of cabin space, and the profile of the boat is just 1.7 meters. That is incredible. And when you go headwind with something like this, you will pretty much have no additional resistance from the headwind. The battery placement on this narrow monohull is ideal because you can place all of it underneath the waterline in the middle rear section. That is gonna increase stability a lot and keep the center of balance extremely low, allowing this boat to confidently be self-righting. However, it is so simple that it actually might become a limiter because you have so much batteries required as ballast that it might increase the build cost. Now, before we move over to the actual build processes and the measurements, I'm gonna go through the same briefing for the solar power cat. Behold the catamaran that everybody loves. I'm gonna paste in the current Helios 11 so you can get a look at the sheer scale. Okay, I'm gonna remove the side view right there, and now you can see the 11 meter Helios compared to the 16 meter power cat. That's a huge amount of space, and just look at the rooms. The grand hall of almost 25 square meters. It's like bigger than the entire Helios 11. So I'm looking forward to that level of luxury. And let's move over then to the power cat. Here are the rooms. The entire beam is 4.8 meters. That is the optimum it's gonna fit together with the plywood dimensions. So the idea of the narrow power cat is to function as a narrow monohull, but still have the comfort of a catamaran, meaning less rolling and wider rooms. Compare this room with this room. Kind of awkward. More room, more performance in the storm, but still it doesn't feel so good comparing to something like this. Both the Solar Cat and the Explorer have extremely straight hulls. They are so narrow that there's no need to have great curvature. It makes the build simple and performance optimal. Both have reverse bows and bulbs to increase performance, increasing the effective waterline length and also the wave handling. As you can see, I'm gonna make this reverse bow and bulb upgrade on the Helios 11 as well, but it's not that important because the hull is not optimized for the addition of a reverse bow. It's still gonna add performance, but might be more efficient when it's properly planned. One very important note about the power cat is that it's still very narrow and low profile. If I made a true catamaran, you could run into the problem of extreme headwind or rough conditions. This isn't guaranteed to be self-righting, even though you have most of the mass underneath the waterline. However, the monohull is definitely self-righting. You could head into a storm and sleep. So that's the reason the power cat looks so sleek. I want to have it as low as possible, as narrow as possible, while still giving the comfort and the abundant room space of a catamaran. Now we know the basics, so it's time to start building. After this video, you're like 95% ready to just get started on your own build according to your own specifications. The marine grade plywood sheets usually come in dimensions of 250 and 122 centimeters, and all of our measurements are gonna be based on that in order to reduce the amount of seams and also make the hull stronger for less amount of work and materials. For both the Explorer and the Power Cat, I would use 20 to 15 millimeter thick plywood. For the sides and the tops, I'd use thinner sheets, possibly making the roof out of foam core and glass fiber to reduce the weight at the most critical location. The plywood doesn't need to be super thick because you're gonna add a lot of glass fiber to reinforce, waterproof, and create an impenetrable shell on the bottom of your vessel. That is the best place to add a lot of overbuilt materials in order to make everything more rigid, stronger, and bring the center of gravity down. The bulkheads and the supports will be laid out at intervals of 1.2 meters in order for the seams of your plywood sheets to perfectly align with that. Here I've illustrated the bulkhead and support placement. One is missing here, and as you can see, they are almost identical width all the way of the hull. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From the fifth bulkhead, the stern starts tapering a bit, only 20 centimeters narrower. So 350 width and 330 width. The bow curvature will start at the 12th or the 13th bulkhead. The bow doesn't need to be super sharp because the entire hull is already so narrow, especially the waterline. There you can see the waterline. No need for additional wave piercing. This might actually be 2 wave piercing, so if you're going for more calm conditions, go ahead and start your curvature from almost the last bulkheads here. Look at this entirely straight line here. It works because we have a reverse bow and bulb. Entirely straight, all the way to the 8 meter roughly. And then you're gonna have a gentle curvature rising up 20 to 30 centimeters. So from an image like this, you can extract all the data you need and then you put it into your AI and it will generate every single bulkhead precisely. Now that I have my bulkheads ready, I will lay them out on a flat surface at the right intervals and then build the supporting structures. With supporting structures, I mean wooden beams that keep everything together. They're gonna be important for the overall structural integrity of the boat, but also very important for the actual build process. These supports will make it much easier to lay out the individual plywood sheets. That is the next step, laying out the individual plywood sheets. We do not need to have like a 20-meter piece of plywood that we've stitched or seamed together. Instead, to make the build process easier and quicker, we glue on one piece at a time that's gonna match the placements of the bulkheads. Now let's go back to the PowerCat. We get 2 options for the bottoms. This one and this one. The V-hull is slightly more wave piercing and has a narrower waterline. These sharp pontoons will act as inherent keels and will add a lot of directional stability. But the rounded hull is slightly more hydrodynamically efficient, both on top speed and cruise speed. Since the hull is already so narrow, I'm gonna go with this one, with the slightly rounded bottoms, but wider waterline width. It will scale better with weight optimization and future technology improvements, and we can possibly rise up to a semi-planing speed. So let's look at the bulkheads here. I'm gonna remove the rooms, they are just for visual effect. So all bulkheads will be almost entirely identical, all the way to 3 meters from the bow here. That is where the curvature starts. Everything else is even. The only variation is this slight curvature of the bottom that starts at 7 meters from the rear. This waterline looks a bit off. No, that's more realistic. I've actually calculated the buoyancy, and the system mass of the PowerCat will be roughly 7 tons, and the monohull will be sitting at around 10 tons. So yeah, I still haven't locked in the final dimensions, but this may be pretty close to the optimum balance of high speed, stability, and wave piercing. The wave piercing is inherent, as you can see here. It's worth noting that the construction of the reverse bow and the bulb is separate from the plywood construction. You make it on both versions from foam core and glass fiber. That is how I generate the exact measurements for my next prototypes. And it's very important to note that the bulkhead placements will also align with the rooms. So when I make the final room designs, everything will be part of the same structure. The sofas, the walls, the shelves, everything will be the shell that carries my comfort, my survival, the rigid hull that carries the technology. And talking about the technology, I got another idea right here about the PowerCat. Since the PowerCat will be lighter, and it also doesn't need a lot of battery mass to remain stable, we can reduce the battery mass a bit. And then we also reduced the solar mass by using lightweight flexible panels. They are more expensive, but since we have less batteries and less overall materials compared to the 22-meter Explorer monohull, we could actually build a slightly less expensive PowerCat that is lightweight and might actually rise up to a semi-planing speed even on current technology. It will definitely do that as technology scales, and I'm building for the future. I don't need my current boat to be ideal, I need it to be good, and then I want it to be ready for future improvements in solar, motors and battery density. So currently I do love both options, the Explorer monohull that will be stormproof and ready for the apocalypse, also having higher economy cruise speeds than the PowerCat. But the PowerCat seems like a better, more cool, more fun living solution with higher comfort, possibly lower build cost when you look at the battery mass. So I'm like 60% PowerCat, 40% apocalypse ready Explorer. It will actually function a bit like a cargo ship. I can have my car, I can have my bikes, I can have my plantations in the bow with UV lights, whatever I want to, but the PowerCat is a more abundant solution that will still enable me to travel across the oceans. So 60% this design, I still need to validate everything, making sure I haven't missed something. If you think I've overlooked something or just have some great ideas, let me know in the comments and we can build the optimal solar super yacht. In the next video, I'm gonna go into the solar systems of the twin hull versus the monohull. The twin hull, for example, has a bit more optimal solar area, but the monohull has more solar area. Batteries, motors, backup propulsion systems. We're gonna take a look at all of that in the next video. Stay tuned and I'll see you there.